my name is Neil Mathweg with Century 21 Affiliated. Thank you so much for taking the time to stop by. Today I'm going to answer the question, what is the hardest thing or the toughest thing about today's real estate market? You know, when I give this question some thought, I immediately start thinking about the buyers and how it has become difficult in some cases to convince a buyer that today's market is an absolute great time to buy. I often will get, well, you're a realtor. You always say it's a great time to buy. And yes, that is true. But to convince them that today, now, is a great time to buy. And so with consumer confidence low and buyers just kind of leery and not really sure if now's a great time to buy or not, I bang my head against the wall with frustration because it's really hard to sometimes convince a buyer to buy in this market. So then I thought, you know what, that's probably not the hardest thing about today's market. Maybe the toughest thing in today's market is when you have to meet with somebody that's being faced with a foreclosure. It's really hard to sit at their kitchen table and explain the steps of a foreclosure, explain maybe what a short sale is, to answer their questions about, you know, where am I going to move, who's going to rent to me if I've gone through foreclosure, how long do I have, is there a sheriff that's going to come and knock on my door. All those scary things that go with a foreclosure is very difficult to talk with somebody about. But you know what? I'm starting to see it less and less. So it's hard, but it's getting easier. And so I come to my conclusion. Here's what I'm thinking. The hardest thing about today's real estate market is to have the conversation with a seller and tell them that their house isn't worth as much as they thought it was. A lot of sellers are in denial. First, they think I'm a flat-out liar. Then they'll start to kind of listen to me, and then after they have a chance to look over all of the facts that I'm presenting to them, the actual sold comps that match their house, and after we review all of those, they start to believe me. And going through that process is very difficult. Some sellers will stay in denial, and they will overprice their home. And unfortunately, they'll end up costing themselves even more money. Some sellers will believe me, but they maybe can't afford to sell for that, and they're just going to try to sell it for more. You know, they're going to try to sell $1 for $1.05, and nobody's willing to pay them $1.05 for their dollar. And so that's hard to watch them go through, because we all know that the longer a house sits on the market, the more or the less you're going to get for it. Buyers think that, you know, this house has been on the market for 6 months. The seller must be desperate for an offer, so I'm going to offer them less. And so you tend to lose more the longer that you're on the market. So those are my thoughts on what the hardest thing about today's market. If you're faced with any of those, I'd love to have a conversation with you and help you through this process. You can leave a comment below. Feel free to shoot me an email at neilmathweg@gmail.com or give me a call at 608-837-7171. Once again, I'm Neil Mathweg. Thank you so much for stopping by, and have a great day.